Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to take a look at one of the weirdest item cards we've maybe ever seen. And no, I don't think that's really an exaggeration. It is Nugget. And it was revealed on the official YouTube channel today over in Japan. And our translation comes from the lovely David Hockman, who, one of our very favourites over here. Him and Antoine really are kind of our top tier lovey translator people that we love. And what it does only happens if you draw it at the beginning of your turn. It is an item card that is played automatically, and if you draw it at any time other than the beginning of your turn, it has no effect. If you draw it at the beginning of your turn, you draw 3 cards. Now, bearing in mind that generally at the beginning of the turn you draw 1 card, drawing 3 cards is great. So, having a card that just lets you draw 3 cards is brilliant. I mean, I've used this example a bunch of times, but back in the base set we had Bill. Also back in the base set, there was no trainer, item, support, they were all just trainer cards. There were no differentiation between types. And Bill let you draw 2 cards. So essentially what would happen is you would play, 4 Bill in your deck so that you could draw through your deck really fast, make a bit of a speed deck. Bill drew you 2 cards. This draws you 3. Let's be super clear, right? If this was just an item card that said draw 3 cards, it would be over the top, phenomenal. It would be one of the best cards we've ever seen in the game. It would go into so many decks. I mean, look, Roller Skates saw a bunch of play, and that drew 3 coins on a heads. So then the real question, the only real question with this card becomes, how can we try and manipulate our board to make sure we're drawing this at the beginning of our turn? And the answer is we've actually got a bunch of ways. We've got a bunch of things that can be used to put this on top of our deck. I mean, we saw Macago having a pretty good showing over at the Oceania International Championships this past weekend. So what about the Macago, the non-GX one? The one that lets you search your deck for any card and put it on top of your deck. That sounds like it might be quite good. Now, one of the things we need to remember about Macago here is that we often want to use it during our turn. As a side note, it did also come out in Celestial Storm, so it's unlikely to survive the rotation, but we got it for a little while at least. And what you often want to do with Macago, I mean, it's played with Macago GX, so essentially you put it on top of your deck, and then you use Macago GX's ability to discard the top card of your deck. If it's a basic energy, attach it to one of your Pokemon. And yes, obviously that's what you put on top of your deck using Macago. So that could work. And then, as long as you've got a Macago you're not using during the turn, and that is the big issue here, at the end of your turn, you just whack a Nugget on top of your deck, and then to begin your next turn, instead of drawing 1 card, you draw 3. However, what do you want more? 1 guaranteed card or 3 random cards? Because that's essentially what you're doing. Remember, if you're using Macago to put Nugget on top of your deck to draw 3 cards, you could just use Macago to put a triple acceleration energy on top of your deck. And then guarantee that you've got that 1 card that you need. But then again, if always just getting 1 card would win you the game, Red's Challenge would be the best card in the game. So, sometimes better, sometimes worse. How about Oranguru? I love Oranguru with this. Oranguru, for my money at least, is the best partner with this. It's phenomenal. You see, what Oranguru does is it swaps a card in your hand for the top card of your deck. So essentially, if you're playing Oranguru, just play 4 Nugget. And don't even care. Because one of 2 things is going to happen. Either you draw it for your turn, and you draw 3 cards, or you draw it randomly. Maybe you play a Professor's Research, and then it's one of the 7 cards that you draw. And then you use Oranguru. And Oranguru draws a card, which is great. It's another card. Another chance to get that 1 card that you need. And you put it on top of your deck, guaranteeing that at the beginning of your next turn, you draw into it and draw 3 cards. Random Oranguru can be really good. Random Oranguru is basically saying, look, I've got this card in my hand that I don't need now. I desperately need a welder or whatever, rare candy maybe. I'm just going to swap this card I don't need for a card on top of my deck. I might get lucky and draw what I need. Wouldn't it be great if you could do that while guaranteeing you drew another 3 cards at the beginning of your next turn? Drawing 3 cards is literally a how. How is that not good? If anyone's wondering why I'm talking how in my videos rather than hop generally, better puns. One day I'll hop to it and actually start using hop. Today is not that day. So Oranguru here really is the master. Again, it's still not perfect, because if you're playing a Zacian deck, you're probably going to want to put a Metal Energy on top of your deck so that you can use its ability to accelerate onto it. Similarly, in a Makago GX deck, you want to put an energy on top of your deck. Or a Torkoal V deck that does 90 damage, discard the top card of your deck, 90 more if it's a fire energy. You want to put fire energy on top of your deck, right? I'm not saying that you will always want to do this with Oranguru. What I am saying is, it is a phenomenal combo because you're drawing 3 more cards. We've seen Oranguru pop up in a bunch of decks this weekend. It was the International Championship, so lots of new Sword and Shield decks. We saw it pop up in a whole bunch of decks where it's essentially just drawing a card or putting a card on top of your deck for next turn, etc. Drawing 3 is great. Bearing in mind the old Oranguru, the original one, the first one from Sun and Moon, let you draw until you had 3 cards in your hand, and that saw a lot of play. This is going to be a really nice combo. Not every deck is going to be able to afford to do it, but for decks that can, this is going to be great. And bearing in mind, there will still be those random turns. There are still going to be those games where you go first on turn 1, and you happen to top deck Nugget, and you draw 3 cards, and one of those 3 cards is a Dedenne, and then you have a brilliant turn 1. Or you draw a Nugget, and that Nugget gets you 3 cards, and one of them is a basic Pokemon that stops you getting benched or donked by your opponent on their first turn. There are going to be turns where you don't draw what you want, but you draw Nugget and draw 3 cards, and the 3rd card is what you needed, and you wouldn't have drawn it if you didn't play Nugget. But most of the time, this is a card you need to plan for. This is a card where you need to actually make it work for you, not just randomly whack 4 in a deck and cross your fingers. Because cards like this, right, have not had a great history of success. One of the ones that comes to mind for me, and I might be showing my age a little bit here, is First Ticket. I remember when First Ticket was going to absolutely transform the format. Having said that, right, Dragon Volt isn't even that old. Dragon Volt was a little mini set that was released, in its own little boosters back 2012. It's only 8 years ago, but still. The point is, First Ticket, if you had it in your opening hand, you got to go first. There was no coin flip. But the problem with that was you needed to play 4 of them to maximize your chances, and then, well, yeah. It was a dead card for the rest of the game. More recently, we've had Jirachi Prism Star. And Jirachi Prism Star, if you draw it as a face-down prize card, so no cheating with something like Town Map, you get to bench it and draw an extra prize. It's great! Greedy Dice, a similar thing. They want a coin flip and not needing a bench space. The problem is that all of these have been too awkward to use. So the real question with Nugget isn't, is it good? It's good. It lets you draw 3 cards at the start of your turn rather than 1. It's good. The question is, can we use it reliably enough? Can we get enough value from it? And the answer is, quite possibly. And it really is Oranguru. We can use stuff like Makago, but the problem with something that puts anything at the top of your deck from your deck is that you can use it mid-game potentially, or mid-turn, but also that you can search any card, and a lot of the time you're going to want any card rather than free random. There will be exceptions where you desperately need 2 cards. Free random is better than 1 guaranteed, because 1 guaranteed definitely doesn't get what you want. Free random has a chance. But the point I'm making here is that we've got Oranguru, and that seems to be the perfect partner. Get a random card this turn, so that you can put Nugget on top of your deck and guarantee you top deck it next turn, and all of a sudden Oranguru becomes a way, way better card. For any deck that can afford the space, and especially any remotely speed deck, I think this is a no-brainer. I think 4 of these plus Oranguru is going to be one of the combos going forward. I think this is a phenomenal card. I'm going to give it between 3 and 4 Wassies. We don't give half Wassies, that would be barbaric, because I'm still ever so slightly worried about the fact that it might be a bit too awkward and that the player base as a whole might turn around and go, no, you know what? I'm not putting up with this. It's not good enough. But there's still a part of me that thinks this could be absolutely amazing, and for that reason, consider me rather excited. But I'd like to know how excited you are, so let me know in the comments section. Go nuts, be nice, and then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at @TheWassie, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassiePlays, where we can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but are awesome and we love them nonetheless. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.